income goals, especially if the child ain't calling you about nothing. Now, if the child calling you every week, then you can question about where the child support is going. But if every time you pick up the child, they look nice, they ain't complaining about nothing, why are you worrying about where the money go at?
It is what it is. Radio show.
Skirt, 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 skirt. Start, skirt, 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 start, start. I be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I be up in the way. 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 Bedroom phone ring, girl in t-shirt answers me. I get off on the way that she answers me. First time saw her, I knew she was the one for me. Ever since then, we've been vibing on some chemistry. It's just a matter of time. I know she feeling my vibe. I got the keys to the ride. She put her hands on my thigh. She got that look in her eye. SL what I'm riding. Royalty, call me highness. All day and overnighted. Cause it's crunch time when I'm grinding. This Adderall got me nauseous. Proceed with caution. Tired of lanes, I'm exhausted. Poppin' Zanny Zan, sipping out the faucet. I'm confused, don't know what I'm doing. Wait, what I'm doing? Got me going where the I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. Wait, where I'm going? Wait, where I'm going? Out of space where I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. I be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I be up in the way. 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 I be up in the way.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I am your host, Nate Couser, and I am here. I'm just trying to add a few people to the post. So welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live on Be Exposed Radio Station. I am your host, Nate Couser, once again. And today is Monday. We have one more show before the end of the year, and that's on Friday. So I'm going to make this a good weekend to the year, the rotation year. But I'm having a lot of fun this week because, everything is more relaxed. People are starting to, get ready for the holidays. So everybody ain't real crazy. But just a few things. I am preparing for just the new year, and I'm just getting things in order. So I'm trying to clean some things out, get rid of some stuff, and just do that whole routine of just cleaning the house and getting ready and getting rid of some old things and trying to make room for the new things to come in the new year. And I'm not big on resolutions, but what I do decide to do is just set new goals. And I look back over some things that I did this year and how I want to improve on some of my goal setting and what got accomplished and what didn't get accomplished and all that rigmarole. And I'm really ready for a new year. I'm really ready for what's to come. I'm really ready for just the newness that is the changing of a calendar year. And I did a lot of preparations, one in November when we did the whole self-care. So that was me just getting in preparation for that and just getting myself in line and in tune with where I wanted to go, and kind of looking back and taking some things with me in preparation for the new year. So with that being said, the Artist Exchange is going to do some different types of things in the new year, bring some of the things that we've been doing over the last couple years with us, but it's going to be a little bit different. In January, there won't be any, well, I'm not going to say there won't be. There'll be a few interviews, but all the interviews will be with individuals from the cast and crew of Pulley, the show that I'm in right now. It starts February the 14th and ends March the 1st. The shows are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 8 p.m. Friday shows. There's a 3 p.m. and an 8 p.m. show on Saturday. And then there's a 4 p.m. show on Sunday. You can go to www.arenaplayersinc to get your tickets. And that's the Arena Playhouse at 801 McCullough Street, the 21201 area. And this is actually the 50th anniversary of Pulley. And the book was by Ossie Davis, and based on the play Pulley Victorious by Ossie Davis. So I'm really excited about just moving forward and getting it together. A couple things. One, do I have any gripes today? Gripes. Please stop going into these Asian stores expecting them to treat you a certain way, because they not. They are all about making their money. Most of them don't live in the city, and if they do, they don't act like they live in the city. So they're really taking advantage of the people who are coming in there and servicing. I went to one store today that I normally go to, and I know the lady at the front, who is always at the front, she's normally a little abrasive. She yells, and I don't get mad when people have certain types of mannerisms as the volume of their tone or how they speak, but I know what the attitude is, and I normally go in there only because there's not a lot of things open in this part of downtown at this point, because most of the businesses stay open for the businesses that are here during the day. So when people start leaving, those stores close. So I'll go there just because there's something different to eat. And she just is normally very abrasive, really disrespectful. And I've tried to be really patient with her, but there's been moments like today where I've had to jump back down her throat because she's just a little abrasive and disrespectful, and she doesn't really understand how to talk to me. I don't know how she talks to anybody else, but don't talk to me that way. And I see people coming in the store that are in there often when I'm in their store, and she still talks to them that way. And I guess they're okay with it, but I'm not. If I'm spending my money, I want to be respected, even if I'm not spending my money. But more importantly, when I am spending my money, respect is key, number one. And I don't play that whole you get to talk to me any kind of way. I don't like rude customer service. I've always been really good at customer service. Not that I've always been the best at times, because people can sometimes come into your presence with an attitude, and you have to kind of not reflect that attitude, but kind of deflect it. And but her service is horrible. And it started out as simple as me asking for something and her not understanding and trying to rush me through my order, and then her getting my whole order wrong, and then she charged me extra for something and got mad. Like, if I pay extra for a condiment, I want that whole condiment. If I pay extra, which was, if she was like 80 cents for green peppers, I paid, and I wanted her to use the whole green pepper, and she was like, no, we don't. Yes, we're going to do that. Because if you're charging somebody for the price of buying that thing, and I'm quite sure she didn't pay more than $1 for it, and you're not going to try to get out of me another one. But again, and then I'm going to let that go because that angered me. But that takes me to this business in general. I've been trying my best to do a lot of shopping amongst my culture and a lot of black-owned businesses and just small businesses in general, and younger businesses and women businesses and LGBTQ community businesses. And I've been really trying to purposefully make sure I seek out these businesses that, are minority-based businesses. And it really gets a little crazy when you're doing so, because people are setting their prices based on their needs. And I made a post about this to ask people to stop pricing this. And when I stop price gouging people, in addition to that, I often see a lot of businesses, and normally this happens to me when I'm dealing with a photographer. I'm not saying all photographers are like this, but in my experience, photographers or service-based businesses, product-based businesses, I think, often have a better understanding of how to price things. They normally either overprice you or underprice you, but people who offer services normally don't know how to price. And I've had a couple different individuals in the last couple months that priced me, and I was told why they were charging me this. And it was only because they had to pay this bill or this bill is due. But I think that's crazy, because often when we do that, and I've done that as a business owner and an artist, I've undervalued my work by charging people based on what my immediate needs are. And if you need to pay your bills with your business in the very beginning of you being a business owner, you need to keep that job or go get a job to help you as a benefactor to support your business. Stop undervaluing your work. I did two vending events this weekend, over the weekend, and I was going around to tables trying to support various businesses or help them, promote or networking with them. And I saw a lot of business owners just charging people exuberant prices. And when I say exuberant, I'm looking at the quality of what I'm looking at. I'm having conversations with them about how they make it and all that, and I see that they're not putting value into their craftsmanship or to their artistry, and they're putting more emphasis on what they need to pay. And we all know this is bill season, but you got to start preparing yourself so you're not overcharging people or you're not undercharging people. Because when you do either of those, you end up not getting your full value anyway, because most people are not going to buy it if they think or feel you're overcharging them. And if you're undercharging, you really are losing out on money, because you're not taking into consideration your materials, your overhead, and what your value is, your hourly rate. So I am speaking with a couple people to help me put together some workshops, and I'm going to have them on a show, but I'm thinking of doing some live in-person workshops as well to help people with pricing and just setting value. And value can often change as you get more experience and more time in your business or in your craft. And we got to learn what those ebbs and flows are and what that value system chart is, and not just setting prices based off of what our needs are. And so I think we have a couple minutes left in this segment. If you want to come on the show, if you want to be a guest on this show in the new year, our shows in terms of booking guests starts in February. So come on down. Our Friday show we'll only be having Monday shows in the month of February. So if you want to be booked for the show, definitely come on down, or email me, not come on down, but email me at theartistexchangeradioshow@gmail.com, and I'll get you on our calendar, and we'll switch information. I'll start marketing you that way. If you are looking for a show, if you have an idea for a show, if you have an idea or you had an old show before and you want to bring it back, or if you've already thought about doing radio, please hit us up at info@beexposedradio.com and simply say, Nate, I want a show in the subject bar, and I'll get back to you at my earliest convenience. We're looking for new shows, fresh shows, and such, and I really want to bring on some new, fresh talent for the new year, so definitely hit us up. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and I believe our guests are here now, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Like, the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like, yeah, I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit without y'all. So no matter what you up with, just go hard. Don't matter. Can you imagine how I really having nothing is? Stomach growling, you ain't got no food in the fridge. Surviving on a jail diet of water and bread. No father figure, that's cause my father did. Mom's bringing different niggas in and out the crib. No money, so you seen this less than all your friends. But it a joke because your mother was a crackhead. Older sister hoeing off, giving all her homies head. I could wait for your response, but they let her hear me talk, so I just wait for the applause. I always knew that I was great, I got them haters so appalled. I'ma make it out the darkness, and my word is my bond. Delivering these bars while I'm gripping on my balls. Jealous niggas hate to see you succeed, so fuck them all. I'm the master of my destiny, nigga, you not in charge. You either on your grind or in the way, so get lost. Be a man of everything you say you stand for. Lead your people by example, being hands-on. If you're back against the wall, then get your mash on. Fix your vision on the future like it's fast forward. The world is yours in due time, ain't gotta ask for it. I'm from the school of hard knocks, I took a crash course. Shit be stressful, my nigga, that's why I'm getting high. But that's life, and it's the code that I live by. And you know how it is, where we at, nigga. They say money can't buy happiness, but I be happy as a bitch when I can have dinner. Learn from your losses or you end up like the last nigga. I fall off, I bounce back.
Take a minute and listen to this flashback of the Black by Demand radio show.
Control. They said she wouldn't so they didn't know if she had a weapon. So it's just a mess. So yeah, you do have to have these discussions with your children.
You do. And you have to make them aware of that there is an enemy out there. Every time the police pull you over, or every time you have an interaction with the police as a black person, you are at risk of being in front of your enemy. Hopefully, it's not a police officer that wants to demonstrate that he's your enemy, but we all see it's a high probability of that being the case. So if we're not talking to our children do not have the coping mechanisms to deal with these type of intense situations. What they're going to do is what most of us do as black people, me and anyone else, which is become emotional. And that is the trigger point for the police. They know that black people are emotional people. So when they arrive on the scene, they are purposely trying to say and do things to you to get your emotions up, right? And then once they get your emotions up, then it's like, oh, that's what we needed. Now we're going to kick your ass. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. You know, so I'm saying we need to have these discussions with our children, you know, and make them understand in this day and age, and it's every day and age really, but we'll just say this day and age for the sake of it being so prevalent on social media, like you have to understand what you're getting yourself into. And I think a lot of us as black people are just scared to still tell our children that there are a group of people out here that are your enemies.
Join us every Monday at 12 noon for Black by Demand radio show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Like keys, only have this bitch jumping.
Okay. If I sit around, hold up. Look. If I sit around, hold up. Yeah. Rebel rough. If I sit around, I'ma smoke some more. Wasn't even thinking about smoke before, but I'm in my head and I'm in the bed. Don't know who I am, like I'm wearing a mask. Working mode, tell them where the cash. If you wear the cash, tell them where the cash. You playing for you, gon' run it back. Don't make promises, but I promise that. Don't promise me, cause I ain't into that. Fell in love with that and got hurt from that. That was all over and the curtains back. Can't see you not noticing that. I'm letting it go, it ain't holding me back. Yeah, I'm on dice, but ain't come for the crack. Drinking with uncle, we only do jack. How I'm alive, I thank God for that. Praying about it, things getting better. Open it up with my name on the letter. Why you crazy about it? Saying whatever, you shy to be you. You know you gotta be you. Sometimes I need privacy too. Yeah, you know I ride. You know I ride, and you know you ride for me too. Yeah, you know I. Look.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. These are our last 2 shows for the entire year. We only have one more show to go, but I had to squeeze in these 2 awesome guests that you see over to my right. First of all, let me just tell you how long I had to search for you on social media. I was like, what does he call him? Because she only says my son, and I was like, I gotta remember. Oh, okay. I
got a lot of different names.
But what do you go as? Go by? I'm sorry.
I prefer to go by Reginald. Pulley.
Okay. Yeah. So this is Latonia-Valincia Moss, doctor. Are we soon? She been busy away getting her doctorate degree. And what is it in specifically?
Community college leadership.
Okay, so she gonna be the boss of the university.
That's the goal.
The boss.
That's the goal.
Next to the provost, because they normally give them a lot of attention. But she wants to be the president.
Yes, that's correct.
But I had these 2 on, and I've known Latonia for it's been about 10 years now. And she is the playwright of Blueprints that I've been posting everything about, and I've been working with her on that specific project and a couple other shows since then. And this is her son, who was this quiet young man
kid at that
was
time.
at the front door of all the shows. Yes. And now he's this tall gentleman in college now. Yeah. By how time grows. The body. But let us know, who you are, sir. We can start with you, and then we'll introduce both of you.
My name is Reginald Pulley. Born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland. I love this city. I do.
Did you almost choke off of that?
He sound like he's about to go be a mayor in a few
No, I really love to see everybody at my school, because I go to school with Southern. I know you love home. One thing about him, he love home. And I love my city. I think this is a very unique place. It's a get out the mud type of place. And
so you ecstatic right now because the Ravens are.
Oh yeah. You know.
Okay. I'm just making sure that's the test. That was the test.
Absolutely. I go home when I come home. I go to the games all the time. Make sure I support the team. It's gonna be a Super Bowl year. I definitely think so.
Hoping they bring it here. We need it here.
Yeah, we're gonna win now. I don't think we're gonna lose another game. So Super Bowl is in our future, definitely.
And you're studying political science.
Yeah, I'm studying political science right now, but we'll see where that takes me. I don't quite know about that one yet.
Well, it's not. It's a couple variations of it. There's a lot that you can.
Yeah, you can do law school. You can go public administration. All those different things. Nonprofit. Okay. But I think I want to really stick to that nonprofit route.
Well, it's the nonprofit capital here in Baltimore City.
Oh, really?
So.
We have so many nonprofits.
I didn't know that.
This is the city. If you want to learn to be a nonprofit or start a nonprofit, I would come here first.
Wow, that's good to know.
And most people don't even realize that, but we have more art, educational, health, homeless, a lot of politics, a lot of nonprofits across the board, educational ones, everything.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's probably what I'll probably do. Come back here, get into that nonprofit sector. Most likely starting my own, still getting people to God, getting people start building relationships.
Okay. So I've been hearing more vocally about your faith, and we're going to get into that part of the conversation a little bit later into the show, but I'd never heard you talk before. Until maybe a couple things to your mom or to one of us, but where did this confidence come from in being so outspoken? I mean, duh.
But no, I think I've always thought I had the confidence. It was just I didn't feel I had anything to say. And now that I'm getting to a point in my life and in my walk where I've lived life a little bit more, I've made some decisions on my own that some have brought me some success, some have brought me some failures. Right. And so now all I'm doing is just taking the time to look at my life, see what God has done, what He has brought me through, and I'm just sharing the lessons that I've learned. And I got my own thing going on Instagram where I do this thing called Truth Tuesday, where I actually upload a video just talking about the different things God is downloading in me to share with the people so that way they know what's going on, how God is moving.
So we're going to talk more with Reginald and Miss Moss, Dr. Moss, when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You're now listening to BeExposedRadio.com. Check out this fire flashback.
We need to relearn what it is to be these bosses and how we conduct ourselves as business-minded individuals and just people in general. I let my gut, and if I call it gut or God or whatever, I'm led by that energy. I know where it comes from. I know where it's, taking me, and you have to figure out what is important to you, and don't play this game. It's a game that we've learned to play, this chess game, and life is not a chess game. Life is real, bones, flesh, blood, decisions.
Make sure you check out the Artist Exchange Show every Monday and Friday at 2 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Same respect, what is happening? We're trading what's important for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. I'm from, don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we've won. You're so much better than that. Sometimes the truth ain't always catchy as rap. Stop chasing cheese or you'll get stuck in a trap. Go get your crown and never render it back. No, it's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. Exactly. Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature. And I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do. And I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
This is a Poverty ENT exclusive. Next stop, Texaco, strapped up, you already know. Fuck niggas hate, that's how it goes. Bros with me, yeah, it's time to go.
Nigga, chose by another nigga, bitch. Damn, this chopper got 50 round clip. So this Molly and the syrup got me geeking, shorty.
It's time to go.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. One of the biggest inspirations that I've had in the last couple years as an artist is meeting and getting to work with Miss Moss, Dr. Moss. I'm just gonna keep calling. I'm gonna just
keep saying it. Keep saying it.
You turned in most of it.
Yes.
You're finishing up.
I'm at probably about 90%. So,
okay. Well, that's Doctor at this point.
Yeah.
And just watching her do things without even all the knowledge of it, but still pursuing what it is that you want to do. And I fell in love with one of her pieces. About 10 years ago, and I don't know what hold it had over me, but it all came full circle when we did the last show, and I was able to bring in some of the women that made me have such a connection. And I hope you got to meet some of them or see some of them, but that was my shared experience with you over the 10 years. But watching you grow as this professor and writer, and I've seen different sides of your writing. I don't think we all knew she was capable of some of the other stuff, but it all worked together because it showed just the capacity of that pen that you got. And it's a crazy energy that I couldn't explain, or I couldn't necessarily tap into myself. And a lot of my education as an artist came from the outside of the classroom experience, and you were definitely a part of that hands-on experience that I didn't necessarily get in the classroom. So I want to introduce you and give us a little bit about who you are.
Hi, Be Exposed Radio. Happy to be with you guys today. As he said, we have just an awesome love affair around the arts. That is. I mean, absolutely. And even as a professor, playwright, creative writing professor, English professor, speech professor, and in the classroom, out of the classroom, but the artistry was something that. And you know this as an artistry, it's your heartbeat and pulse in a way nothing else is. So even though we got to eat, we got to work to eat, we got to pay the bills, and we got to do all of that stuff, artistry is something, it's a pulse in you. It's following the lines in your hands, off in your pulse. And even though I've put that down, like just pause, before I did, the most wonderful thing happened to me. This man curated, like, the mind-boggling, the last show, but it wasn't just a show, it was curated in the museum. So he took, so even though it ended up in a performance, he got photographers and other kind of artists and painter and that the one that I bought the piece, the collage artist. So he brought these artists in around the play, and my girlfriend and I went. I wish she was on here. My girlfriend and I went, and we were walking into the place, and there's this big poster outside with my name on it, and this thing, and people are walking this museum, and we walk in, and it was so surreal, and I'm standing there, and this
time you didn't produce it, so it was
it was just so surreal. And then my girlfriend goes, "That's her," and he was like, "Oh, are you Latonia-Valincia?" Who, me? I ran into the bathroom. Oh my God, it was the most surreal moment of my life. And I ain't done. I just want to put that in. I'm not done yet.
Lunch after, but what was your overall thought of it? But and I'll say before you start, you aren't done. You haven't paused because you're living life right now.
Okay.
So when you go to pick that pen or bring that laptop back out, everything that you're going through right now is going to be coming through your fingers.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely not done. And to be honest, there's the bubbling up, and we're even talking about creating a nonprofit publishing company, my son and I.
Okay.
So so we got that buzz, and he'll wake up to me in the morning and he's like, "Mom, you writing?" And we're not just talking about writing that dissertation, but these other things that we got to write, these books and some things that I've just kind of left on the table where I've needed to. And you know that as an artist, you know that from doing this radio show, where sometimes our faith just wanes, right? Because life gets life. You gotta eat. You gotta eat. So every time you're thinking about, I gotta eat. I gotta pay some of this college bill right here, and make sure he's going in the direction he's going in. And then we get so in the grind of our careers and our life, but that thing is never dead.
I find myself every moment I have, either on stage in rehearsal here in the classroom, finding ways to like stretch my mind and create and such. But it definitely, I want to say to you, well, I'll go back to the question. What was your overall experience from the Standing Room Only Blueprints project? I think you got to see it. Yeah, but you didn't come to the show. You got to see the
that it was curated. Every piece of it, the article you sent me that I read with all of these people coming together, then to go there and see all of these people coming together, then to experience all of these people coming together, and then to see Blue.
And I didn't know. I didn't see the first couple times you all did it at B-Triple.
Oh, that was one of those.
He didn't. I don't even think he realized what we was in.
Because I wasn't a part of it, so he didn't really.
It had grown so
and it
much.
had grown so much, so he didn't know. And then for us to see each other from this young man being on the choir at BCCC, when, as Tanelia would say, when it was 7 pages.
She reminds me a lot.
Right. When it was only a couple of pages. And this woman by herself did this one-woman show for Women's History Month. And for it to go from that, people following us around going, who wrote that? And she's like, Latonia, for real. She wrote it. Like, really? You wrote it? Like, really? And then for me to come to Standing Room Only, and to see the audience's response to it, and to see the people who I brought with me, their response to it, and to see people who, might just know me on a regular, just know me like, you wrote that? That's your piece? Yes. And look what he did with it. And I purchased that piece from that artist and got to know her and talk to her a little bit, because when I saw that was Gingell for me all day long. That was that. And then I can't remember the curator's name.
Tiffany Jones.
Tiffany Jones. And the live fruit and the old shows and stuff she got. And then when you go through the museum, the artists are in the museum posing as pieces of it was the most surreal thing I've experienced.
One of my things, me and Tiffany worked hard, like night after night, she was trying to translate the memories that I had from every time I talked to you, and just trying to capture your grandmother's home. And just that idea of this, like, I wanted you to be shocked. I wanted you to be able to walk in and see it 3D. And I know I was off because I had never seen the home, or I never, been in the presence of it. But I just wanted to capture it in a way where you felt like you were in it. Like you were literally in it. That's why we did the whole procession and made it feel like I didn't want to take you back to a moment, but just kind of translate everything that you had given to us. And it was hard, and I pray to the actors and to Tiffany for being so patient with me, because I was so meticulous with every detail. You got to bring these types of fruit in. You can't have this fruit. You got to bring these types of nuts, and it got to be, and just being very meticulous. And I found myself really involved in it in a different way.
Ironically about it was that it did not capture my grandmother's house, but it captured my childhood memories. So if you can understand that, because my grandmother's house was not a black woman's house, right? Right. It wasn't a black woman's house, but it when I saw it, it was the black people's house in my neighborhood. It was the lady down the street. Specifically, I remember that she had that Martin Luther King and when I saw that, I was transported back to that time. But my grandmother didn't have no Martin Luther King or Jesus in her home or that kind of stuff. Her home was a replication of the people's houses she cleaned. Yeah. So that was what was so different about my upbringing, that sometimes people be like, y'all just act like white people. And you know, because my grandmother duplicated the white people, how she worked for her.
Or whatever they gave her.
She duplicated that in her space. And you know, we had artwork, paintings, and you know, stuff on the wall. It was so very different. So it didn't remind me of her house per se, but my other grandmother, yes, this woman down the street, may she rest in peace, definitely. God, I was transported back to her house for real.
Right.
And it was just like, oh my God, I'm in Aunt Tay's house. That part of it. And I'm not done writing about my hometown. I was talking to my son about that the other day. I'm not done writing about hometown. I have another piece in the works in my brain called Water Tower. So I'm not done.
And it just gave us a glimpse into what that was, because everybody who was working on it this time kept wanting me to translate it. And the story is universal. You can put that in any city in this town or in this world, and it'd be a universal story. But everybody wanted me to update it to where we are. And I didn't want to do that so much as to take away from what you had put into it. And that was my thought process the whole time. Just trying to remember all those bits and pieces. So that's probably why you got that atmosphere from it. Because that was, and this space itself lent itself to being able to make it such a three-dimensional place.
You definitely succeeded at that. You definitely succeeded at that. That was a success in that, absolutely.
How do you look at your mother's work? Because you've been able to see all her shows, and even just that one particular show grow. But when you look at her as an artist, what do you take from that?
I take anything's possible. Not so much from the artistic side, because ironically, I don't like plays. And it's not.
So you got
it's not a bad. It's not like a.
Right.
I'll not go see a play. I go see plays in my school all the time. But plays isn't my favorite form of like art media, because I feel like it's so stationary. Like with technology and everything, we've grown to really touch different parts of the imagination. And so that's why plays isn't my favorite thing. But the message, I feel, is better in a play. It's going to hit home more.
You feel it.
I feel that, like, for example, Fences as a play was great. The message behind it was good. As a movie, because it was so stationary, it wasn't that good. But you can still take away that message. And so that's why I say I don't really like plays. But just looking to my mother, it's just amazing to see that, you know, something you create, something you birth, just with any artist, like, you can make it happen. And it's inspiring for me in my own, I would say, art form as well. Just being able to see that I can create too, and I can, you know, what's going on in my brain, the different thoughts that I think, the little quirky things that I may be going on, I can take that and put that down and create it and have it a living thing in any way possible.
What's the conversation like when after you finish one of her plays or on that ride home? What's the conversation normally like?
The one
I've heard about your honest.
The one that I love the most, and I don't, when I did the human trafficking one, Muted Voices Speak, and he sat next to me. Were you in high school still, or your first year? He sat next to me, and like he said, so he, you know, just kind of, he and them just following my mother, this playwright, just follow me around wherever. But in this one, he sat next to me and he tapped me like, "You wrote that?" And I said, "Yeah."
I don't know, that's another thing. I'm very analytical, so I'm not just always looking just to let on. I'm always trying to examine as well. And so in that play with Muted Voices, it really spoke to, you know, like what women went through,
human trafficking,
what they go through, and, you know, coming out of it and getting caught into it, different fears and things. And I was just like, that hit home, because as a male in this society, you know, I don't have to walk around being scared or afraid about, you know, what may happen to me, but I got to see a different side of it, a different thing where it may be safe for me in this regard, but it's not safe for women. I was like, I felt that. I felt I got transported to a woman's shoes and was able to kind of like experience, okay, this is what they go through, this is their fears. And that's probably still one of my favorite pieces.
Yeah. And that theater does that. Theater, outside all the other mediums of acting, it puts you in the moment of it.
Yeah.
Like you can get lost in a movie or a TV show, but plays bring you in. A good play will pull you in and force you to kind of be a part of that ride.
Right, because like it's, even with like plays, it's still live, it's still acting, and so it's not like with a movie, all right, you didn't get that right, let's try again. But it's like as a play, you're still living on the stage. You're still thinking in the moment on the stage. You're trying to recall the line. If you can't recall the line, get back to what the essence of it was, and it can change, and it's still living and breathing, and it's not just a script. It's still a body of work, a living, breathing body of work that she got to bring.
Well, I think you found your dramaturge for your upcoming productions. I don't want to put that in your lap, sir, but that sounds like dramaturge. This thing. We're going to take a quick break. We got to pay some more bills. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, y'all. Facebook.
I thought you were going to have my money today.
Man, it is what it is.
Then last week you told me your wife was cooking.
Man, it is what it is.
Then again, I don't think I want your wife cooking because you don't like it.
Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio. It is what it is, 9/11.
Are they ready to? I know they're not ready to accept it, but yeah, exactly. That's my whole thing. Like, how many of them are really ready to think about it like that?
None.
You know, like
I think the problem is
like
I don't even know how we got here, but it's inbred. You're not born to hate people. You're not born to distinguish between black and white and Asian and Hispanic. That's something that you're taught. You're taught. Point blank, period.
Straight up.
My daughter came home and told me that her white teacher was black. Maybe it's because it's how she treated her. She don't see any color. But when it comes to all her friends, all her friends are mixed. All of her friends have a white parent, black, African, Hispanic, other parent.
So
children don't see color. You breed your children. Not breed.
Right.
You raise your children to see that.
Yeah, most definitely.
They don't see racism.
Well, I guess
I met a little girl who had a black doll, and she said because the black dolls are prettier than the white dolls. But then I've taken a black doll and a white doll and put it in front of two kids, and it's a study that they've done before. You put it in front of two kids, and you put it in front of a kid, and you ask them which one is the nice one.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This Fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K. Check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9 a.m.
Long live Pop. Y'all can go ahead and cry now. I'ma show these niggas what to do with one of your beats, man. I am Gas, by the way.
Strong woman story should have been on CNN. Nobody knows what it's like being Gwen. Windows closed in the house, it ain't no CNN. Can't gain weight for years, she been being thin. Single mother, no help from the system. When they was giving out food stamps, she missed them. Birth certificate, baby daddy, she couldn't list them. But her son was so beautiful when she kissed him. Blame it on love, but nigga she could've died with. Destroyed the whole world and found out she was a side chick. The nigga loved his wife and it got hard to hide it. So
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate Couser. And just so you know, February the 14th through March the 1st, I have come back from a brief hiatus on stage, and I'll be Get Low and the production of Pulley, directed by one and only Troy Burton. They're bringing a song out of me that I didn't think that I had. But I'll be on that stage, and we're actually in rehearsals for that now. So come on out, celebrate the 50th anniversary of Pulley, written by Ossie Davis. It's being adapted from his play Pulley Victorious, and this is the 50th anniversary. It's an awesome play. I've done it a couple times, but definitely come on out for that. But with us today, we have Mr. Reginald, and we have Dr. Moss in the building, and we were sharing a little bit of the creative flow that we have, and I wanted to jump right into, in the second hour, the conversation with them on their new joint venture as podcast, FaithForward, and I watched the first episode that I saw you come on. I was actually in my classroom because she was doing them during certain days, and I'll be able to watch them. And but this day I was in class, and I was like, she's not, R-rated, so I can put it on in the classroom. And I needed that break myself. But I was watching the show, and what stood out to me was, one, you were talking. That wasn't what I was used to. But I was hearing from you, and your mom had been sharing with me, this your exploration in church, and this not new faith, but this new outspoken faith that you have begun to be a part of. And I was amazed, one, because I don't see too many black young men professing their faith. Even for me, it took me a while to openly profess it. Not that I was ashamed, but how do I do it and still be an artist and still be a teacher? Because every environment isn't welcoming to that. So how have you been able to find that voice in your faith?
The most challenging part about that, like you said, like you can't be so open about it everywhere, is at my school, I am my school SGA president. And so when running for that position, I kind of had some doubts, because I was like, can I be a man of faith leading people, because everyone here is in the same religion, me and my personal devotion time, this is where I'm going to go to make decisions, where I'm going to go. I'm not necessarily going to go like the traditional model. And so what I realized was this, if they vote me, that is who I am. It's not these separate things. It's not I'm this person this way and this person another way.
Like you just turn it off.
Exactly. It's not a turn on off thing. My faith is who I am. My faith is who created me. I always say my favorite thing is say I am what I am by grace. And so when you see me, when you see what I am, when you see me standing here as outspoken as I can be, or as much as I can share, it's not me, it's the grace of my life that has allowed me to get here. And that's a universal term, because we all got grace. You can attribute it to God, you can attribute it to something else, but it's grace that allows us to be here.
So in terms of, and you said something earlier in our interview where before you didn't really feel like you had anything to say, or you didn't have, what was your words again?
I didn't have nothing to say. I didn't live enough life yet. That was kind of my thing.
And that's one, as a theater teacher, I'm learning that many of our young people in general, but more specifically our young black men, feel the same way. And it's not fair that they feel that way, but a lot of them don't really feel like they have valid things to say. So as a theater teacher, I'm doing more public speaking, more confidence building in them, so they do realize there's no right or wrong answer to my feelings. So whatever's in me, I can express it. And just learning how and when is the most important thing, but we all have something valid to say. Did you always know he had these thoughts or these things on his mind?
I don't know when you say always know. I know I parented him very differently. I know that he was not allowed to goo goo gaga. He was not allowed to have tantrums. And
we need you in the school system.
Yeah,
I think you need to think about North Avenue.
He was not allowed to do that. He had to use his words. He had to use language. So he learned how to. I think he probably was talking before he was walking. So language was something. Plus I'm a communications person. So language was something that was given to him very early on. And because I was an educator in the classroom, one thing that students did not have, and I tell my students all the time, the way my son is, along with God, I attribute this to being an educator, was that I came to the classroom and people didn't have critical thinking skills. And it didn't matter what age they were. So it wasn't like, oh, this is just for young people. No. I could teach people who were 50, they could not think. 60 could not think. And sometimes the older they were saying they grew up in a generation that you were seen and not heard. So they were so voiceless. So I wanted to make sure my son knew that as a kid, he could use his language to communicate. Now, it can't bite me in the butt. Right, so I could
analytical skills.
Yes, it definitely came to bite me in the butt. So I want to be I definitely want. And even with teachers, some trouble in the class one time, and I remember he explained the problem to the teacher, and the students was kind of like, "Huh." And he got the answer, but he didn't get the answer the way that, and of course the teachers and everybody was looking at me like, what kind of kid is this? He's a thinking kid. So I taught him very on how to use communication to think. If something is wrong with you or somebody is doing something to you, here's your body parts. This is your penis. This is your, so I was very bent on making sure he had language. I was bent on that.
And that's, and I'm afraid in this generation that we're in right now, and I don't want to call it the Me Too generation, but this generation where we're all triggered by things, specifically on the female side of it, that a lot of young black men are going deeper in a hole, opposed to learning how to really express themselves.
Okay.
Because now we're too afraid to say things in the presence of a woman or around women or to women, because I don't want to be seen as the threat or the triggering factor. So it feels like we're going deeper into because I know I've kind of cut back on my responses or my critiques when I'm dealing with people. Even as a director, I won't say things the same way I said it maybe 5 years ago. And you feel like, I don't want to be the trigger. I don't want to be that point of chaos in your life. But how can you speak to allowing this individuals, young people in general, to kind of find that voice sooner than later? And I know you said you started him out not
very young,
Google and Gaga.
Very young, 4 years old. So we're in a heated climate of heterosexual, homosexual, misogynistic, racial slurs,
you just said
trans, all of that. So even as an educator, we have to them, they versus, all of that. So because we're in that climate, of doing that, and it's not so much that communication is censored, more so it's more conscious.
Right. I agree. I was thinking about that earlier today.
Yeah.
I don't think so much that the situations and the issues have changed. It's just we've grown in consciousness to be able to name them all.
Right.
So now if someone was feeling a particular way about what you said, but they didn't know how to give words to those feelings, now with social media where someone else across the country, they could have been feeling what you're feeling and they gave it a name, and now you've adopted that name.
Right.
And now that name is a thing.
Right.
And now you have to respect that because you can name it now. And so I think that's where it comes from, is we're able to add these labels and actually name all these things rather than, these be like little taboo topics and we don't talk about them and we don't give way to them.
But they're labeled, but the understanding isn't on the level of the, like you said, consciousness. I still don't think the understanding is there of what this fully means. What is rape? Now rape is defined by so many different things. It's not just me penetrating someone without their permission. It's non-verbal things. It's non-touch things now that's considered in that label of just that one word. And it's just uncomfortable to live in a space where on a daily basis things are being defined. So now it's like I'm gonna just wait till progress stops, and then
I'll start talking. Then. Hey, Karen, I'll start talking. Then.
You still gotta live life, like especially on a college campus where all those things are taught. Where they're encouraging females. Nothing wrong with that. Encouraging females. Hey, you feel the way somebody did something to you, talk out, speak that. And how I hold my friends accountable as a male is like, you gotta look at her and go into that situation, with the intent to respect.
So we pay a lot of bills here. We got to pay some more bills. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Mr. Reginald and Dr. Mars. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all out there, Facebook Live. We are at Be Exposed Radio tonight, bringing you greetings.
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah, bitch, if you don't have my money, we're going to have a problem. Ooh. Oprah said, what is the problem? Ooh. You said if I don't have your money, there was going to be a problem. So Oprah is standing her ground like, bitch, I'm in charge. You know, you may have a $250 million studio over there that you film all your shows and movies and stuff on, but I have the empire. That's what Oprah said.
Oh, these are her exact words. Allegedly.
I made this up. But
allegedly.
I made it all up. But there was a rumor that they were beefing. But Tyler confirms that they don't have any issues. So it says it was recently reported on the rumors that was swirling that the twosome were on the outs over constructive criticism of a Perry show. Well, I got some constructive criticism, and we can be on the outs, Tyler, and I don't give a damn, because I'm going to make a promo out of this anyway and share it to your page. I need the scenes on Have and Have Nots to be like 5% shorter, each one. I want you to watch an episode of The Young and the Restless, because this is supposed to be a soap opera. No one's dialogue.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. Today's topic is hashtag FaithForward, and that's the podcast that I first saw Dr. Moss doing. And what made me happy was, like, I don't get enough of you in terms of, like, whenever she would come in during rehearsals, she would have these big inspirational things to say to us, I guess, to get us to get it together. But I didn't get enough of that. We don't really see each other too often. So I was like, why do I gotta take a class? Because I like those inspirational moments. I grew up on self-help books and the Iyanlas and things of that nature, the aha moments. But I was surprised and graciously surprised to see you doing it, and for a 30-day challenge. I know I am not a Facebook Liver. I do this, and it's filmed through Facebook Live, but for me to just set up one, I'll be like, what am I supposed to talk about? But I love the message of just faith being at the center of all of this, and I've been enjoying the conversations so forth. And I can't wait to see it on a bigger platform and to see you really jump out there and unleash. But I know you're trying to get doctorate right now, so we're gaining around you just to keep you motivated. But I enjoyed it as a young black man, and it's just we don't get that time to talk about those certain things. Either you're in a therapist's office or you with your friends, and you don't get any in between time to really talk about those things like faith. And I think. How do either of you or both of you define faith? In general, for your own personal.
So outside of the Faith Forward that I've been doing, outside of that, prior to doing this and that study, faith was just this thing for me personally that I did not do well. Believe it or not. It was not something that I felt like I did well. That I struggled so much with belief in myself or belief in what I felt like the Holy Spirit was telling me to do. I struggled with it. And although outsiders, voyeurs, or people who looking in at my life, they might not believe that, but here's my evidence right here that he has the gift of faith. So his faith compared to mine is like this little bit, and his is, this big faith that he has. And so the older he got, the greater my faith became.
Was that by reflection? Was it be
no, because my faith was like this, but it by him just going leaps and bounds in his own beliefs, and so he would come to me and say, "No, Ma," and so yes. He was pouring back some of the ministry that I gave him, the relationship, and this boy watched me pray. This boy watched me leaps and bounds, recover, be the phoenix, come again. Oh, we counting her out. Nope, mama back up again. So although he watched that, and that might look like faith to somebody watching, but me as the person who's experiencing it feels like failure to me. I keep falling off. But he's watching me get back up. So he ended up having very big faith that now his faith actually is becoming contagious.
But that's what he just said when I asked him about your artistry. He said anything is possible.
Right.
So that's him watching that. Right. Anything is possible.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would define faith. Faith of God can, and allow yourself to fill in the blank. Just that simple.
That's true.
Just leave it at that. God can.
Many of us are losing that faith because, and it's something that my grandmother used to tell me as a child, like messenger, message. Don't get the two twisted and don't get them interchanged. They're not interchangeable. One is this and one will be this, no matter what. And I think a lot of us are looking at the messenger. We're seeing the imperfections in our pastors and our leaders and our parents. And we are getting that twisted with what the message is. We're refusing to hear the message. We got so many people blaming a non-tangible, non-concrete thing for all the problems in the world.
Yes.
Religion is not a problem. Religion is perfect the way it is. The ministry, the doctrine, all those things are perfect the way they are. We're looking at the messenger that's flawed. And we're having trouble kind of separating the two. We've put them as one. And because the messengers are living, breathing things that are flawed things, and we interchangeably connect them.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this on air. I'm gonna say this on Facebook Live. I'm gonna say this on Be Exposed Radio. I'm gonna say this with my son sitting next to me. My son caught me having an affair. He caught me having an affair. And the reason why my son trusts me today is because in catching me have that affair, I told him I'm imperfect. So it never changed the power of my message because I've always stood before him as a flawed person. I am flawed, but son, this is what you will always get from me. You come to me with it, I'm gonna give you the truth. But I'm weak, I'm flawed, I'm lonely, and even in the case of finding, I ain't ready to stop yet. So let's be clear on that. I'm saying from what I teach you and what you know, this relationship that I'm having with this man is wrong, and I don't want you to have an affair. I don't want you to do that. This is wrong. I'm hurting somebody's family, but I ain't ready to stop. That kind of truth.
Yeah, and I think that comes from expectations. We expect our pastors to be perfect, and so a question I always ask is like,
we expect our parents to be perfect,
right? But who said that? Who said that the same Jesus that you need for your imperfections isn't the same Jesus that they need? Like, we create that, they got it together because they're teaching. No, they're just anointed to teach. But just how that you need Jesus to help you with your mistakes, to wash away your sins. It's the same with the pastor. It's the same with your parents. It's the same with that authority person. It's by how you look at them. And
but we all have to learn that in a time, and some of us hard-headed people
still haven't learned.
Right, us hard-headed people have to go through that multiple times before we get it. It wasn't until I was an adult that I could be grateful for the mother that I had. And that's 36-year-old Nate speaking. I had to turn 36 before I could forgive my mother and my father for who they were as human beings.
Right.
And that shocked me with one day waking up and getting that type of forgiveness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for my mother because she often apologized to me. And she always say, I'm sorry I wasn't the best mother because I didn't do this. Son, forgive me, I was in this place. But being 20 years old, I I'm already at a place where I forgave you already because I understand you're not perfect. Because as I'm living life, I see the people I may have hurt, the people I may have made a mistake because I wasn't right within myself. So why can't I expect that same from my mother? You know, I've never separated that just because this person is in authority that makes them better than me. They're just in that position. That's where they're assigned to be. But it doesn't mean that they have something over me or something better than me, or they're beyond the human condition. They're beyond having human experiences.
But just know that that's a blessing, that understanding in and of itself, outside of everything else that you've been gifted with, that's a blessing to understand that, because many people have grown up putting people on a pedestal. Our artists, our family members, people that we love, like the fact that I realized as an adult that Martin Luther King had an affair, that hurt me. I never met this man a day in my life, but that hurt me. The fact that Bill Cosby, this man who I thought that's what my family was going to be like when I grew up, that hurt. But we have to understand, one, that people are flawed, and there's a messenger and there's a message. And my focus should be on the message. And I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at what was given to you to give to me.
And I think more of the messengers have to own that they're flawed. So
and that's the problem. None of them are.
I think the major...
a lot of them are.
So he was raised that way. I am flawed. And I actually have like a disability that helps. I got a little thorn in my side that he's watched me fall. My gait is off. He's watched me, I can't do this. So he's watched it. So he's seen my imperfections. And I'll say to anybody, even people who professor, mentor, I don't care what authoritative role I'm in, I tell people I am going to mess up. It is inevitable. Do not put me on a pedestal, because you put me on a pedestal, I'm going to climb down. You put me on a pedestal, I'm climbing down.
Who's that child?
You put me on a pedestal, I'm climbing down. What that climbing down means, somebody be like, oh my God, I've had students in classroom look at me and say, are you cursing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cursing. Can I curse on this show?
Yeah,
okay, I can curse on this show. So they're like, are you cursing? And I'm like, yeah, I'm cursing. Didn't you just say you was a minister? Aren't you like a minister or something? And you cursing? Yeah, it's fixed the occasion of what I'm talking about. I said, sometimes he's not a butthole. Butthole doesn't work. He's an asshole. And I'm standing in class saying to my students, listen to how that sounds. The syllables of butthole. Listen to that. Now I want you to sit, and I'm sitting in class. How does that feel in your body? He's a butthole. Can you feel that? And the class is like, no. I said, okay, let me try this. And I teach speech, so I get away with all this stuff because we talk about language. I said, so let's say this. He was an asshole. I said, how that feel? Everybody was like, yeah. I could feel that. And so I've always been so open and honest with my son about I'm flawed. And not only am I flawed, you're going to be flawed. That this is contagious too, this flawed part. You're going to mess up. But you're not going to get it right.
Hit on the point. The leadership has to be...
They have to own it.
They have to own it. And as a leader myself, I've broken myself down in my 30s now, and I've had to be that honest with people. And sometimes it hurts people because they're not used to Nate being that honest with people. But I've had to be, because I'm not infallible. I'm not, I'm not a statue. So I have flaws, and people get upset when they see it. And now I understand what happened to me. And that take me to the next one was, at what point was that church hurt a real thing? Or not even in the church, but your teacher, or, catching your parent having affairs. Like, you just broke apart everything that I thought as a child about you. And I'm sitting there, and I can only imagine what that felt like. But teaching your child, preparing your child, I would have not wanted this young man in my classroom, because that man, he would have questioned everything that I said.
A lot of teachers didn't want me.
A lot of teachers did.
And I knew now I understand what my teachers thought and said to my mother. Now I understand those notes on. We don't want him in here no more.
But I think to lend a helping hand to the messengers, the leaders in that sense, is as a society as a whole, we create this atmosphere of you have to be perfect. So they don't have,
and it's not obtainable.
It's not. But so then when they're in those positions, they don't think that they can be imperfect because if I have to be perfect to keep this position. And so they don't want to let nobody know about the flaws. They don't want to let nobody know about what they're struggling with. And then when it gets out there, because whatever happens in the dark, it's going to come to light, especially if you're not trying to correct yourself. So then they have to keep operating that thinking, I got to be perfect to get this love. And they don't think, oh, I got to be perfect to be in this position. But the truth of the matter is, like I said, I am what I am by grace. You're in the position by grace. Grace covers you for your flaws. So you have to own your flaws. And us as the people receiving the message and the messenger, we have to know that that man is up there by grace, not by his effort. That woman is up there by grace, not by the perfection or the goodness of what they did, but by the goodness of God.
But that understanding requires not the messenger, but the people receiving the messages to understand that in their own life. Where their leaders at.
Because you can't put it totally on the messenger, and you can't put it totally on the people receiving the message. It's having that relationship and that open dialogue, just like the thing you said, like with going back to saying what, like in this new like high tension age, you gotta be cautious to say what you say to somebody. But how you get more comfortable is having that open conversation where you can build a relationship and making the mistake and learning and having that open dialogue so everyone can benefit from it.
It's definitely something to be said about being honest and being upfront, but you got to be able to take the lumps and the bumps when you and be prepared for them, because not everybody's gonna receive your honesty the same way. I'm mostly attracted to people who live their life unapologetically. And I think when I met you, it was a breath of fresh air to meet somebody that was pursuing the arts that wasn't of the arts. That was a breath of fresh air to me, because I was around all these stiff, perfect people who had the perfect way of being an artist. And this was the first time I was ever allowed to be myself. And my pastor, my former pastor, she just retired, but that she was the first pastor I've ever heard say, I'm not perfect. And I was like, oh my God, like I can sit and listen to you now and not feel like I'm filtering the word in my own way. And I think I'm most attracted to those people who have always been that honest. And I've always found ways like, can I be that honest? Should I be that honest? I'm an artist. I got to be perfect. It's about the words on the paper, no interpretations. But it's hard to like give that to people and retake it.
I mean, like you said, people are attracted to authenticity.
All day.
So when you try to get that perfectness, it actually deters people, because it's like, well, I know I'm not perfect, so I don't want to mess with that perfectness. But when you are raw, when you're real, when you get that level of honesty, that's when the people can say, hey, okay, maybe let me get with this, let me rock with this, because I need to be that honest, or I need someone that's open and that available, that's that imperfect, and I can be imperfect too.
So on that note, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here with these awesome individuals when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, Facebook Live, we are in the studio.
You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. So deeply wounded, but don't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. So you just sit there and you suffer in silence. Your pride won't let you just uncover your secret. Don't wanna look weak in your image, it ain't worth losing. So you just act as if it's nothing happening. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you. You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya.
Listen to this flashback of Skyline Radio Show.
So where we at?
when we talk about the effects and what's going on in these schools, and what people don't understand. Just real briefly, I just want to talk a little bit about what people say bullying is or is not. So bullying comes in many forms. It's a teasing, it's the cyberbullying, it's the texting, it's the phone calls, it's the posting of pictures and people's personal.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
And how it feels, and something dirty where you just want to just exhale and just let loose for a second. And something happened in those 30s where I couldn't keep the facade of everything being okay. I used to I never went outside without my beard cut or without a haircut or without certain things done, or I thought I always had to show my best stuff. And not that I don't feel that way anymore, but I was keeping up with an idea that I thought other people had for me.
Right.
And I didn't even ask them, didn't talk to anybody, didn't, investigate. I was trying to keep up with an image of myself that I didn't even know, or wasn't attached to who I was. And I value the closeness that I've always seen in the two of you. And at some point, y'all go ahead to put this in a book form, or
I even had students say that to me, right? Y'all need to, this mother and son thing y'all got going on, y'all need to kind of market that. I have certainly have people come to me and admire our relationships. I have had the one. And I don't know if he is on our Facebook Live, but his coach, he is on my Facebook page, but his coach, when he was playing basketball, just felt like, you're too close to him, he's too close, and
I heard
and I said, you're going to make him too soft. I was like, I'm not making him soft. And 1 year we were apart. 1 year I was finishing up my MFA, and he was living with his dad, and I was living somewhere else. And I didn't see him that much, because I was like, Darrell, let me finish this degree. Mom is going to get this degree, and then I'll be back for you. And his coach came to me and said, I apologize. He said, I apologize. You and your son have a very special, uncanny relationship. And I take that back. And he said, because I thought that y'all closeness was actually stripping him of something, because I'm not a man. And he's looking at him. He wants to make sure he's being made into, a man. And I'm not a man.
And did he have that connection with his parent or mom?
I don't know. And sometimes that's the case when people watch the two of us. They've never seen this. And I would say, there's no boundaries on how deep a mother and son relationship go. It can't go across, because I can't marry him, I can't sleep with him, so it can't move over into eros. But in terms of storge, the family love, it's no bottom to it. And because maybe most people in their storge love, they stop right here with their children, or they stop right here with their children. When they see me down here with my son, it's like, well, are they sleeping? Are they doing something? No, I've gotten this. They seem too close, because there's no bottom to it. There's no bottom to how deep this love can go. There's no bottom to it. He is my son. There's no cap on how much I can love him as my son. But clear, he's my son. He ain't never been my man. He's never been allowed to be called my man. He's never been allowed to be called little man. He's not my substitute for a man. And even though he's my ride or die sometimes, and I like to hang, and we happen to like each other, those things, we happen to like each other. Those things have been drilled in his head. And he can tell you that, you're not my man. You're not my substitute for a man. You're not my little man. You are my son. And in this relationship, I'm the mother. I am responsible for you. You are not responsible for me. You might be responsible for me when I'm about 95 or something like that, when the tables turn, and he still be up in my nose. But I clean your nose. You don't clean. So he knows part of his life has been me keeping those lines of demarcation clear. I'm mother, your son, but we can love each other endlessly. But most people haven't seen it, and because they haven't seen it, they question it.
Right, and just to add to that, like when we was in Florida visiting my grandmother, when I was driving the car, she had yelled at me, and my grandmother said, "You yell at him," because they think because of how deep it goes, it's all good. But there is sometimes we argue. Sometimes it's a flip side. Sometimes it's, boy, get out my face. I don't want to talk to you. And sometimes it's I really don't want to hear what you have to say right now. And but that's that deep. That's how deep it goes and how high it goes as well. And we have to be able to take both sides of the coin and come back to at the end of the day, we love each other. This is my mama, and I'm her son.
How has that prepared you for the relationships in your life that were not blood or
with women? Yes.
I want to say that.
Let them tell that story.
I would say it has definitely hindered me.
Right.
Because
everybody not raised like you.
Exactly, and that's something I have to learn and keep telling myself. I can't expect me from other people, and everybody was not raised like me. So the type of relationship, the type of example my mother set, I can't always go out there and look for that in somebody else. And so it puts me at a disadvantage because I may know too much, and then
because there are people 50, 60 years old just getting that.
Right.
I'm being honest.
And let me say that. So to that point, I didn't want him to be that. So to that point, I said to him, you will not be 50 years old dealing with the crap that me and your father have done to you as a child. You will not spend adulthood getting over your childhood. You get to tell me what's wrong now. We get to work it out now. So when you become an adult, you can be an adult. And you can take this world by storm because you will not be spending your life trying to get over your childhood, get over what didn't happen. And I'm an adult doing it. With so many adults are doing it.
Well, that's and I tell you, and I had an unhealthy relationship at one time with blueprints, but that's what it was. I know your mom talked to you about it, but it was unhealthy. That's why this last time, like I was begging the women in my life, because the dudes ain't really there, but I was begging the women in my life to come because I wanted them to be in your presence so you can see, oh, okay, I get it. I get it now. I get it. You met the G mama in my life. You met these individuals, and it was like even the conversations that I had to have one-on-one with them after, because I was putting people out there when we had the last showing of it, because I had to, because I thought I was going crazy, because even the actors and Tanelia didn't understand why this was so important to me, because I had to release it.
You really
I had to release those things that I saw in people and that I was damaged by as a child, and that stuff followed me. It was in my bags. Like that stuff was in my bag.
But you was going, look, come here, y'all watch this because y'all gonna get healed by this.
Yeah.
You was doing it,
but they would never come.
You was like, come, I need y'all because we gonna have a talk back, and you know, it was like I'm gonna do some therapy on the low, you know. So you was it was serious. Like
even one of my aunts that came, I watched my blood uncle, and that was her husband, beat her down a flight of steps. Literally punch and bang her down a flight of steps. He passed away before we could have the conversation, and for her, she was angry at me because she hadn't dealt with it. She didn't recall me being there.
Oh wow.
And seeing that happen as the only young man in the house. And it was just certain things, and I try to tell other people, like, you are bringing that stuff with you.
Right.
You've let it go.
Right.
But it's when you go back home, it's back on your plate.
Right.
You can push it off and put it back in the refrigerator all you want to, but it's still there.
Right.
And you're gonna have to eat that, and it's gonna be rotten when you go to eat it. And you still have to digest it. And it's gonna make you sick, and it's gonna keep you from really getting to where you want to be in this moment. But that was my unhealthy connection to it. I needed these people. You saw mother family and father family, because I needed them to. Like I was absorbing. I'm one of the only empaths in my family, and I was absorbing all of that because I felt like I was the one that got the good education. I was the one that got the advantages. I was the one that was giving creative gifts. I have to be the one to save these people. And that was like 5 years old thinking like that. And I look at gentlemen like you who have it not together, but you have a better grasp of it. And I have personally friends and family members who are 60, 70 have gone away from this world and never got that type of understanding.
Yeah, I mean, I'm writing a book right now, and this is one thing I write about in my book. And I say this, you know, in my time trying to explore God and figure out what happened, I gave him permission to be free. in my life. I always my prayers, God, you have permission to be free, to expose to me the truth, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent. You have that permission to expose to me everything that I saw, experienced, bring back different memories, and it has been a roller coaster, honestly. But one thing that I know is, like you said, if I bite that fruit now, I don't have to wait till it's rotten.
Yeah, because you gotta eat it regardless.
Right. You have to. There's no way of getting around that. But it's you get to choose when. And I've just decided at a younger age that, like she said, I don't want to handle it when I'm 60. I want to handle it now because, I always say it's a reason for the season. And when you're able to know the reason, it gives you more motivation. It gives you more power to, do those things. So I understand some of the things God has placed in my life for me, and I want to achieve those things. And so my desire to achieve those things is like, well, I got to deal with the things that I know about, the things I don't know about today. And that's why I say, God, enter in at this point so that I can meet you at that point. And not let me get to that point and then I gotta enter in, and then now this point becomes the other point, and it goes further and further back because I gotta continue to work out what's in me.
And even things he doesn't know about, I'm willing to tell.
And
it's not. I'm not that mother. I'm not the mother who like that's under the rug. No, we can't talk about that. Go to a therapist, and a therapist is gonna have to help you with that. Anything that comes up, he can come to me. Mom, what this mean? Anything that comes up, Mom, I got this memory. Mama, this thing happened. I'm not hiding that.
Even
I'm
if
not hiding
he can
that.
do that, it is something to say about his parents that is possible. Because even if you would be that honest, he still had to feel like I can still go to them and ask the question. But that's not happening. Like I see a lot of children in my own family and the children that I teach, where that's not a thing. That's
no.
I need to probably
that's none of your business.
I probably need to teach parenting too.
I said you need to take that doctorate and go to North Avenue.
Because if my son knows that I'm not married and he hears me in a room making some kind of noises, that what is that noise and what is that sound? And that man that's in that room, when that man comes out of that room, he has a wedding ring on. What's that? He can't experience that, and then I say that's none of your business. This is our home, and this man has come to our home. And if you're watching this pattern, or every time he comes over, I got to go out and play, and you watching this pattern, and then one time instead of going out and play, he at the bedroom door like, is he hurting my mama? What is that? What kind of noise? Is she gonna be okay when he come out of that room? He can't experience that and then not be able to come to me and ask, what is that?
Because what happens is all those things that we don't know that we remember will come back to us. And what happens is when something's wrong with us and we just don't know what it is, we don't know that those memories are the things that's keeping us weighted down. And that's toxic within us.
Right, because recently I had like a spat of depression, and in handling that, I thought
which is normal.
It is, and in handling, I thought it was just one thing. I thought I pinpointed it, and I was focused on that one thing. And the deeper I got, I realized that one thing, that pinpoint, I thought it was really just something that connected to something else that was deeper that I didn't remember. That I had to call my parents and say, hey, do you remember me experiencing this and saying anything about this when I was young? Because I didn't remember. And I just didn't know. But it was, I had to take the opportunity to explore those things I don't remember and be open to getting to that point.
And that's not easy. That's not an easy thing for anybody to have to choose or have to decide, but it happens to us in a moment where we least expect it. And I didn't know that certain things hurt me until I was in the midst of it. And theater has helped me to regain some of that, because you often play these different scenarios with these different things, or you directing something that's triggering something, and you like, I gotta fix this. Fix it, Nate, fix it now. And I will put things off, and you gotta deal with it now, because that's where the whole eating of the rotten food thing came from me, because I had to correlate that to something that my mind would understand. And I had to still eat a lot of stuff that wasn't good anymore. And what happens when you eat rotten food? You get sick. And you could get deadly sick. You can almost die. But then once you get through it, it's like, okay, I can deal with this. And you've actually made yourself stronger.
I think that's a good analogy in terms of people don't want to get sick though. You know, and so I'm not eating that. So to eat that, and even in terms of getting sick, I don't know how long I'm gonna be sick. So if it was a guarantee that I could face my past in a day and be done with that pain in a day, most people would do it. But because we don't know how long I'm going to be in that fetal position, most people don't. Because I still got to work, I still got to live, I still got a life, and you want me to take my life and put it on pause now and go eat this rotten fruit for however long it takes me now to process that through my system. And it's not going to be quick. So I don't get mad at people who don't want to be healed.
Yeah,
I don't. I get it.
And that's why some people stay in that.
And I get it.
I can deal with this level of pain because this level of pain.
Exactly.
I don't know if I can deal with that.
Exactly.
Something I was reading in Philippians. You know, we each have to work out our own salvation. And you know what I took that to mean, kind of what my mother taught my entire life is your life.
Right.
You get to F it up if you want to. And so you get to choose if salvation for you or in this life for you, if you just want to take God simply at I'm saved, I'm good with that, I want to live here, and never go experience that deeper pain or never go experience anything beyond what's that surface rate. Nah, I'm good here. And you can stay at the surface level. But some people are trying to shoot for the stars.
Right.
And God gives us a way to shoot for the stars. But in doing that, you gotta leave the atmosphere. You gotta go through the different levels. You have to get through all these different things that happen that is compressing you and keeping you down in order to shoot to the stars. And you can get stuck in different levels in the atmosphere, but there's always a way out. But you get to, like I said, you get the cosign on it. You get to choose where you want to go. And so and understand that, like you say, I'm not getting mad at someone if they're like, life is too hard.
Can't go no further.
Too deep. I want to stay here. I respect that because that's your salvation. That's where you go. I don't want to do that. And I connect myself with people who don't want to do that, who don't want to just stay at this base level and say life is good enough where it is and think all life is what's in front of them. Like there's stars and we can all reach the stars and we all got to shoot for what our stars are.
Right. What do you contribute to your level of honesty?
So let me say it like this. I'm learning how to be transparent and private.
Because somebody told me everybody's not deserving of your truth.
That's correct.
Because everybody
I have not always been as private as I am becoming as I age.
Because we're taught that that's what being real is about. Because people want to see your hand without showing you theirs.
People take your information and run with it. And it becomes bullet in a gun toward you. But to answer that question is that something happened to me at a very young age. Well, no, let me say how my mother said it. Let me be honest, how my mother said it. My mother said I was born this way. My mother has 4 children, and she said this child was born to tell the truth. So I'm gonna tell her how she said it. So much so, I'm serious, so much so, if I got in trouble at school, and I got in trouble one time, and the teacher was there, I was here, my mom and the principal, and my mother looked at me and she said, "Did you do that?" And I said, "No, ma'am." And the teacher said, "Yes, she did. I saw her." And my mother looked at me and said, "Did you do that?" I said, "No, ma'am." My mother looked at the teacher and the principal and said, "She didn't do it." And they said, "What?" And the woman is like, "I saw it." And I said, but here's what you saw that you can't believe. It looked to you like I was tearing the posters down. But you can't even believe, as a black girl, I was walking through the hallways putting them back up. You don't even have that as a perception in your mind, because that's exactly what I was doing. Somebody had went and tore all the posters down. So after school, I was going around pasting them back up. So all she did was see a hand up like that with all these fallen posters, and she couldn't even fathom that there was any way possible that I could be doing that. I had to be the one. And my mother looked right there, didn't flinch. She said, "This child of mine right here does not lie. She is not afraid of consequences. She is not. She will tell the truth." And other people who know me, they said like this: Latonia tell the truth and her own self. Like that is how much I've become known to tell the truth. Now I'm learning different definitions of truth. And now I'm understanding privacy. And now I'm understanding I can plead the fifth. Now I'm understanding I don't have to answer other things, because we do not live in a society where people honor truth.
So what?
We don't live in that.
What brought you to that understanding of truth?
Being called a fake prophet, being persecuted, all the things that come with truth telling. And his father even said to me, you know, people live in white lies, Latonia. They're white lies. We live in, there's a gray area.
That's that level of pain that we can deal with.
Right. There's a gray area in here. And because you don't live in that gray area, it's going to cost you. And I had to admit, it was costing me in ways that I did not want to pay that price anymore to be this person standing on this fence of truth, and I mean truth to the death, and truth over love, truth over everything. And so when you added love to the equation, truth took a back seat to love. And then I started understanding that not only can you handle this truth, you can't handle this, you don't deserve this part of my truth, you don't deserve to know this, we're not in relationship to this degree that I even have to disclose this information with you. So love came in and put truth in a proper perspective, where I understood it ain't the time and season for you, self-love, it ain't the time and season for you to handle this truth can destroy you. So it became in, and I understood that I don't want people, when love enters in, then it becomes, he gonna choke on this bone. I am not interested in him choking, so I'm gonna refrain from this bone.
That's and you saying that's where I'm at in my life now, because not everybody is worthy of your truth. Not everybody needs your truth.
Right.
Like we grow up, I'm so real. I don't need that.
Right.
I just asked you how your day was going.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
And I'm learning how the difference in the perception that's required for truth telling.
Exactly.
And I say to you, when you learn your power, not learn how to write, but learn your power as a playwright, you're going to be equal to how I feel about August Wilson.
You think so? I just felt the anointing on that. I just felt the anointing on that. He like prophesying in here, God.
All your pieces have a level of truth to it. And I say, I'll be your personal director for however many years.
Yeah.
Because it's rare that you find a level of truth in somebody's story.
Right.
Like I know Blueprints was kind of patchwork from different experiences, and then a lot of creative license as well. But even, I don't care who I put here and here and here, it's the same story. And you like when I tell you, and I think I invited you to one rehearsal where I did it, and that's why I don't invite you to all of them when I do it. But the actresses always find a comfort in that four-person circle, because I've had people confess over Blueprint stuff that I don't even know how to look at them right now as a person.
Right.
Like it comes out, and you don't know where it's coming from or what this little four-person circle has allowed. And then I'll say, okay, I think you are ready to meet Latonia now. And then when they meet you, it's not like, you know, I had one person that was hiding, and when she met you, she broke down in tears, because it's something about telling you the truth or speaking truth in your presence. And I've seen people do that before around you.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I keep my mouth closed. But it was, I only had that one actress, and when she did finally meet you, she bust out into tears because she was fighting telling the truth because she didn't want to hurt all these other people.
Okay.
And she bust out into tears, and she was strong the whole time. The only one that I'm trying to get to break is Tania. She would never do it. But that's because she lives her life openly and honestly, and she's one of the people who I know already has that depth perception when it comes to truth. You don't need to know this. This ain't your business.
Right.
And this is what I'm telling you right now.
Right.
And not many people know that.
Yeah, I had to learn that.
It's a hard lesson.
I had to learn.
Where are you with that?
At 20 years old, doing ministry with people on a college campus, it's kind of funny you say it because I didn't realize that is what happens with my mother. That because of how much truth she shares, people are truthful with her. Because I do the same thing where I would say pre-disclosed truths. Where
so you've already learned how to.
I've learned these are the things about my life that I am willing to share, and that are real. These are things that have been a challenge for me at first, but now today it's real. It's a part of my life. It's who I am, and I will share these with people. And because it's my testimony, I believe we are overcomers by our testimonies, and so I share it with people so that way they can be encouraged to overcome. And then in turn, because of how open I was, or because of this story, people struggling with the same thing. People come and talk to me, well, how did you get that? Or in the group setting, may not say something, but find me one-on-one and say, hey, can I come talk to you? Can I come rap to you? And I see it so often. I'm like, God, why do people keep coming to me like telling me all their baggage or all the things they're going on? And I love it because I get to minister to them. I get to hear and I get to say, hey, apply God here. Don't necessarily turn to the things of this world, but let's apply God to the situation. Let's apply God to how we think about it. And it's so amazing, but I just have those truths where, this is where I can share with anybody. I don't care if anybody knows this information. This information is out there for the public. So it in a way detached me a little bit because now they can't use that to throw back at me. Because in my own prayer closet, I've already gotten over it. Now it's my truth to share. So no one can say, hey, I know this about you and come back and run to me or something like that has no power over me anymore. It's power for you to be transformed, but it's something I already then came over. Now there are things I'm dealing with today that I keep in my inner circle that are people I know I can trust that is going to pray for me and take care of me, but it's not so much I gotta figure out day by day. I know what I'm dealing with, and when I overcome something and I have power over that, then it's like, okay, now I can add that to what can go out there, what can be public, and what can they know. But it's a process. It's a screening process for me.
So we're coming up to our last commercial break. So don't go anywhere. But we'll be right back.
All right, y'all. We are still at
this unknown to find who we really are. Crash into something new and take a break from our broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, there's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song, be my radio. And if you follow me there, I'll follow you back. Let the night unfold. I can tell that she can't get enough. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels off from me. Oh no, she couldn't get the feels off from me. Touching hands till we dance in the dark. Show enough, she couldn't get the feels off from me. We do whatever you like. Get the feels off from me. Oh no, she couldn't get the feels off from me. Let's slide, you and me alone, to find who we really are. Crash into something new. I got that lamp hanging up the car. You throw me a kiss, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, I wanna take you, but we gotta cruise so we can lose the crowd. If you wanna rule, there's some rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true.
You're listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Time flies, and I'm glad that I have been able for the last 2 weeks or so, been able to catch a lot of the shows. Faith Forward with Latonia, and since Reginald has been home from school, he's been joining the lives, and that's perspective one, because I've never heard the young man speak before, not for more than a couple words, but being able to see kind of the depth of your understanding right now, and I know being in college and learning all these law terms and political terms is kind of expanding just your confidence in jumping out there. Everything that we've talked about today, what are you focused on right now in terms of what you want to be? And I know that answer, I don't think that's fair to ask a college student what you want to be. No. Because you haven't lived life yet.
I think I'm getting to a point where I know. Being a political science student, I struggle with I got to go to law school, become a lawyer. Want to be a politician, then okay, let me go to nonprofit, maybe teach, and all these other different avenues. And so, as far career-wise, that's still up for debate right now. I'm still looking at, going to, like I said, nonprofit earlier, and being a nonprofit publisher and helping people share their stories and tell their truth, like we've been talking about. But at the same time, it's all about people. So whatever avenues I can use to get to people to share God. So if you want to call it an entrepreneur, because that term's so broad, but just starting up different things and having different things planted in different pillars, so that way it's all connected to people in different areas and different pockets of their lives where they can get to know God, experience truth, and grow in their faith essentially.
And you as somebody who went through the college system, you define what you want to be. Right. Don't let a course prerequisite or a course booklet tell you what your options are. Right. Because we've been privileged enough because our parents fought and worked through everything to be able to give us those options. Right. But you can really build on whatever you decide to be. You define what that is, because the job market out here is not there, to be honest with you. So if you're looking for a job to define what you are naturally gravitating towards, you gonna be sadly mistaken.
My faith, like I said, what I kind of define faith as, God can. And so my faith right now is I want to come home after I graduate, and I want to give myself 4 years to actually start my business and start this nonprofit publishing company. And I want to give it all I got. Work part-time from other places just so I can have money coming in, but make this my complete focus, so that way I want to give it all I got and see what God can do, and that's what my faith is coming out. So entering the job market isn't necessarily like, oh, I need to go do that. I kind of remove myself from that stress and like, God, I believe this is what you're calling me to, and this is where I want to sit at, and I don't want to tempted or try to do anything, but I want to stay where you're at, where the glory cloud is, and I don't want to, get too tempted with, all these other things, because I have a benefit because I am young, I don't have...
It don't last forever.
It doesn't. That's what I'm saying. I want to give myself 4 years, because I do want to be married, I do want to have a family, and like you said, I got to pay bills. There's certain responsibilities out there that I have to take care of, and that just comes with life and getting older. And so I'm believing that by the time where I'm at a point where I have to handle and tackle those responsibilities, I'll be where I need to be in my nonprofit business.
How have you prepared, Reginald, based on the students that you teach for this world?
Oh, certainly far above. And that's not a braggadocious statement. It is that my students helped me become the mom that I've become. Because again, we look at the educational system to give our children what parenting has not.
I hear it all the time, and even at our PTA meetings at my school, I hear it like, do you know those are some of the things that's supposed to happen at home?
Right. And I'm so
some of the teachers don't have those things
because I saw that. Because I saw that his slogan to me is that I was raised. That's his slogan. He will tell that to anybody. I was raised. I didn't just wake up this way. I didn't just become this person. I was raised. Somebody put hands to the fire to groom me, mold me, correct me. And like you said, even when we was home for Thanksgiving and he was driving my mom's car and he was getting ready to go through a yellow light, and it was my mom's car, and I said, boy, don't you do that. You know what yellow means. Yellow means slow that down. So yellow does not mean speed up, something, you know. My mother was like, you fussing him? Like, I said, he is the way he is because he's a disciplined child. And for you to believe anything else is a misnomer. And don't look at our relationship. People just, even his friend's mother, I have no idea where people get this notion from. She don't spank him. He gets to do whatever. This is what people
the
believe.
perception is he doesn't need it. Like I've been.
Oh my God!
Either he's faking it or he just. I mean, he was raised. But when you have it, and I'm gonna say that because my mom used to say that, don't stop getting that raise until she say no more. Like let her cut it off. Don't you cut it off. But I mean, when you already have it, you don't have to act out. And I've never seen him act out. I've seen him bored before, but I've never seen him act out on it before.
Right,
and you don't need to.
But because he was a disciplined child. He had expectations. He had rules. He received punishment. He received repercussions. And so because of people, I have no idea, because he and I know from our relationship, he's got spankings. But for some reason, people just look and just be like, shoot, she let him get so he could get away with it. I know he can't get it. I was like, do y'all know? I just look at everything. You know me? Like, I don't know.
That says a lot about the respect that you have for him and you being a disciplinarian, because most people need the spectacle in order to teach the lesson.
Explain that. They need.
So if the other day I was at a play and the young man, it was a little baby running around, and the mother was outwardly frustrated.
Okay.
First of all, she let this child take her out of character.
Okay.
Opposed to you bringing a child to a play with no toys,
we ain't doing that.
no extra. What did you think he was going to do? So you're surprised at his bored behavior, and how he decided to. So she became outwardly exhausted. First of all, you wouldn't have put yourself in that situation without knowing that you know that he knows how to behave.
He knows how to behave. And this is another thing I taught him. A part of life is boredom. You're going to learn how to be bored.
Still struggle with that.
He's still struggling. Right. We don't have to feel boredom with food. We don't have to feel boredom with TV. Boredom is a part of life. We are bored. Life is not, and I think that helps you from becoming such a thrill seeker, and every single waking moment has to be filled with stimuli because you don't know how to just be. So that was a part of my rearing too. Mom, bored. Okay, that's fine. Boredom is a part of our existence. As human beings, we get bored. And so those kind of things like that I imparted in him. So when people see him, the thing is what he says. He was raised.
So we are like at the end of the show, and I have one more question before we get there. What advice would you give to your 17-year-old self, and what question would you ask to your 100-year-old self? And then we off.
17-year-old self 3 years ago, stop having sex.
Okay.
That's what I was talking about 17-year-old self.
That's honestly okay.
Is that a question for me too?
What question would you ask your 100-year-old self?
Is it worth it?
Okay.
I would have to echo it. Like, just we're kindred spirits. We're kindred spirits. I would literally have to echo that. What would I tell? This is what advice I would have gave my 17-year-old self. Stay a virgin. You don't have to be like the other girls. You don't have to be. Stay a virgin. You do not have to be like, because everybody else has had sex. You don't have to have sex. You can make, and it wasn't even about religion for me.
He don't really love you.
It wasn't even about religion either. It was about, I had this notion. I wanted to save myself, right? And then once I lost that notion, it went downhill from there. So my 100-year self, I think I would say the same thing. Was it worth? Like, was all the the getting out of this relationship, going this way instead of that way, trusting God here and not doing that, was it worth? I would ask myself at 100 years old, was this life with everything in it, toils, joys, was it worth you making it to 100 years old and looking back over your life and can give God a thumb up?
Well, I think Dave said it all, because that just shocked the hell out of me. But I'm going to try to bring them back. Maybe sometime when he come back from school, we can bring them back on and see where you went at that point, sir. Because this is you going into your sophomore year.
This is my junior year.
Yeah. Okay. He went to school one time. Okay. I was the older college student. But thank you all for tuning in. This show will be live on all major platforms after the show. So please stay tuned in. The next show will be on Wednesday, and that's Living a Rich Life. So thank you all. Thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
See y'all later.
Peace out. All right, Facebook Live, that is our time.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project